What's going on, guys? This is Chris Corey back with another video, and in this video y'all, I'm pretty pissed. This is gonna be a rant about mini PCs, and starting back up my YouTube channel. I really wanted to focus in on mini PCs because I feel like they're a viable option for HDPCs. Their small APUs have gotten powerful enough to give us decent gaming performance and video playback. They're portable and they're just overall great for your everyday computing tasks. This is something that I promote about HTPCs. It's not just something for you to consume media, but also being able to get work done. So I wanted to test how mini PCs will perform as home theater PCs. So I ended up testing 3 mini PCs, and they all let me down in one very huge area. This was so big for me that it's tough for me to recommend a mini PC as an HTPC, or at least the ones that I tested and those brands. So this year, with my own money, I bought and tested 3 mini PCs: the Beelink S12 Pro Mini PC, the Beelink EQI12 Mini PC, and the Minisforum UM780 XTX. Just going through my series of tests that I had planned out. My first test was to get the computer started, make sure everything was up and running properly, make sure I had all the necessary drivers and updates. And I went to YouTube to see if the PCs could play back 4K HDR. And two of the PCs did this with no problem. The Beelink S12 and the Minisforum UM780 handled this with no issues. So my next test was to see if they could handle Netflix at 4K HDR. And this is where my problem comes in, because none of the PCs could play back 4K HDR. Now, I tried every single thing. I made sure that I had the HEVC Windows files installed. I made sure I had the correct HDMI cables. In the Windows settings, I made sure that I had 4K HDR selected. I even dug into the CPU settings to make sure that I had 10-bit YCB CR 422 selected. And this setting is best for TVs. I use the Edge browser and the Netflix app, and I use Shift Control Alt D to give me stats for nerds and Netflix. And none of these PCs would go past 1080p. I was so disappointed. So I had to do some digging and try to understand why this was. So I went to Reddit and I just asked the mini PC and the HTPC community if they had any of these mini PCs and if they were able to get 4K HDR on Netflix. And also, let me say, this is one thing, but this is one huge thing to me, because Netflix is the largest streaming service in the world, and you want to be able to get great quality out of something that so many people use. HTPCs have been limited when it comes to 4K HDR with other streaming services. I don't think there's a streaming service outside of Netflix that lets you get 4K HDR. Amazon Prime is capped at 1080p, HBO Max is capped at 1080p, Hulu is capped at 1080p, unless you're using another type of device. So if you use a streaming stick, if you're using a gaming console, um, if you're using the smart functions in your smart TV, you are allowed to use more than 4K, well, 4K, um, HDR plus, or Dolby Vision, depending on the device. And this sucks for PCs because PCs are more than capable of handling 4K and HDR and beyond. However, it's limited because of piracy and the perception that if allowed to get these higher uh, color spaces, there would be a problem with people stealing content and putting it out. However, there are protections, and these protections keep people from actually pirating or stealing 4K content and distributing it on their own. So I did some digging to kind of learn more about this. And I went to Lenovo's website and they had a lot of information on HDCP. HDPC stands for High Bandwidth Digital Content Protections. So what is HDCP? HDCP, short for High Bandwidth Digital Content Protection, is a digital safeguard mechanism created to hinder the unlawful use of digital media content. Its main aim is to shield the copyright interests of content creators like movie studios and broadcasters. In practice, HDCP achieves this by encrypting the digital information that travels between an HDCP friendly device, such as a TV or computer screen, and an HDCP enabled peripheral like a Blu-ray player or a set-top box. This includes PCs, mini PCs, HTPCs, and laptops. Even with this protection, and most devices that support high resolution with advanced color spaces support HDCP. With the PC being so advanced and people being able to manipulate the operating system to their benefit, big companies are afraid of releasing their content in those higher resolutions and higher color spaces in fear that people would copy it. However, could you imagine a world where the PC actually had Dolby Vision or HDR10 Plus with all streaming services, on top of being able to rip a Blu-ray and play it back at its highest standards? That would be incredible and possibly shake up the market to the point where it would disrupt the sale of gaming consoles and streaming boxes and streaming sticks. I don't think big companies want that to happen. But oh my God, it'd be great if they would open up this standard. So that's why it's very hard for me to recommend a PC that's not HDCP compliant. But the beautiful thing is if you decide to build a PC on your own, all of my PCs, even dating back to my older PC with an i7 7700, can play back 4K HDR Netflix. And one day, if companies decide to not restrict 4K HDR on other streaming services, you can build your own PC that will be capable of playing back that content. And that's kind of where I am now. I'm going to continue to research, and ironically, a lot of the information that I got about HDCP is from Lenovo's website. And they sell a ton of mini PCs, and I'm curious to see if their PCs are HDCP compliant. So I'll continue to go down this rabbit hole. However, in the meantime, I'm not recommending, or I'm not testing or buying any more mini PCs until I know more. But from now on, I'll be focusing more on building my own PCs that are HDCP compliant. But that's all that I have. If you have any thoughts or questions, please leave that down in the comment section. Only subscribe if you're interested in all things HDPC. Hopefully we can start a movement and people can start using HDPCs a little bit more to make this more of a viable option to connect to your TVs. And these big companies will let down some of their restrictions when it comes to giving us some of the highest video standards. So thank you for watching this video, and I'm out. Peace.